What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Backstage with Lost Wax
on the big brown couch.
We are so excited to be back this episode. We've got so many fun things we're talking about with who?
Amanda Reed, the
weddings.
one and only. And what are we talking about?
We're talking about weddings, luxury weddings. We're getting into the 2025 wedding season and we're kicking things off. But first, we're going to throw it to that Lost Wax Backstage band. All right, you guys, welcome to the Big Brown Couch. We are so excited to be back, kicking off this season, and we have the one and only Amanda Reed.
We got a big one in the house tonight. Oh my God.
Call me a big
Luxury
one?
planner
You call me a
extraordinaire.
big one. That's not what you said. No. No.
One of the, if not the biggest.
The wall man.
The woman.
Yes.
I'll take it. That's
Yes.
that's better than the big one.
Than the big one.
big one.
The biggest wedding planner in Northwest Arkansas.
Rephrase that.
The best.
No.
yes.
Come on now.
The most
best?
premier.
We're just
The biggest,
limiting it
the
to
best.
Northwest Arkansas. We've had this conversation.
All right, no, we'll stick with the biggest and the best then. We're
That
gonna
is
take
all
them
you have
both.
to say.
All right.
Yes.
Good Lord, Patrick.
Well, first off, Amanda, thank you so much for being here
I'm
with
so
us.
glad to
Like,
be
Oh my
here.
gosh.
We've been talking about this for weeks now.
We've
planning
been
for
trying
this.
to make
And
this
I know
happen.
that like the snow killed us last time.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for being
so much
patient.
snow.
I'm so sorry that. Well,
Welcome to the
Not your
Midwest.
fault.
I was
Right?
sorry.
We all know. You never know. It could be
tried.
77 today and
It will be.
-3 and 9
will
feet
be.
of snow tomorrow.
It's
like
entirely
literally.
possible. Yeah.
Yep.
entirely.
It happened.
I was not the one downtown KC. Did y'all see that? I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
we
Oh my
did.
gosh.
Parkour. They
Parkour? I know it was crazy. It was crazy.
Dude was carving.
It was
video
dope.
went
That was
viral, yeah.
dope.
And he was
I
like-
loved that.
I mean, I'm not.
I think that was the day I was supposed to be
That
here.
was
so
the
I was
day.
like,
We were like, good thing we canceled.
Yeah, we're like,
I'm not gonna
should
do
she
that.
be here? And I
That's-
pulled up
That's
Instagram.
probably
like,
smart.
probably
Nope,
not.
nope.
Probably not.
She should
Using
not.
snowboards to get around. Absolutely not.
probably not. It looks
right.
like a lot
Oh
of fun.
my
though.
gosh.
Well, let's get into
Well,
it.
thanks for making the drive.
I'm so glad to be
today.
here.
We
I'm so
appreciate
glad.
you being here.
anything.
We're gonna talk weddings and stuff.
Let's talk weddings and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Yes, let's get into it.
Are you excited for the season?
Yes, I'm excited.
Have
I'm
yours has yours officially started yet?
kind of. Season's all year, honestly,
Right.
truly, and y'all know that too.
Yeah.
And it goes on all year long. But I have had a couple. And my team has had a couple, but yeah, it's about to get going. I've got about 3 more weeks until it gets going in earnest.
Isn't it
And
like
then-
Yes.
April 26th?
We call ours is about
It's
April
like-
26th, and
it's
we're like
the
eyes
first
down
official-
until
yeah, head
till
down
Christmas
to the grind,
break,
basically.
till New Year's.
Basically,
Yeah,
first
pretty
quarter is
much.
always nice because it's a little bit quieter. We can kind of get some stuff done. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Well, that's
It's
ours too.
coming.
I mean, our first quarter is us recovering from
Yeah.
the year before.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then-
come this time of year,
Getting a
we're
little bored, like,
Usually about
okay.
February,
Get
we're
back to
like,
work.
crap, we ain't got no work.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you're like, crap, all it is work.
All I do is work, no matter what. No. Love it. Y'all know everything's a song.
I
with
was
me,
waiting
so
for a
don't even
song.
act surprised.
It will not be coming from this side of the table for sure. Oh my gosh.
I have a question though. I'm
Yes.
curious because we've worked with each other for a while now.
Yeah.
But how'd you find us?
You know, it's funny. I actually had a really great wedding. I want to say it was 2018 when we first started working together. So it was 2017 when I found you guys. I had a client who wanted something different. They wanted a different band. They didn't like any of didn't dislike. They didn't feel connected to any of the bands that maybe I'd presented to them. And actually, the client had a friend who had been a planner in years past, and she recommended y'all. I think you maybe had played at a gala or something that she had done years before, and called Chris, and the rest is history.
I
mean,
love
yeah, it was
that.
literally kind of out of the blue, and I was kind of like, okay, they're apparently really great, and then we just, immediately fell in love. I was like, because I feel like the very first time we worked together, it was like, what can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do? How can we help you? So
Yeah.
that was that
That's
went a
us.
long way with me
Yep.
for sure.
Well, and you know, it's crazy because I think I was on that first.
You were?
wedding.
Yeah.
I was the one
And
that
so
was
was
on
Miss
that,
Shelby, yeah.
and that was Shelby,
Yeah.
our beautiful producer Shelby.
Yes.
She's off camera right now, but shout
Yeah.
out Shelby, love you. It's so crazy because like we'd done a lot of like bigger weddings here in Kansas City, but it was our first time like being exposed to a luxury wedding market somewhere outside
Really?
of Kansas City. I mean, as the years unfolded and the events that we've done with
Sure.
you were the first planner that we really like
Yeah.
retained a lot of work with these
Yeah.
bigger luxury events. And you know, I almost look at it as like if the writing was on the wall to like where Lost Wax is going.
I
and
mean,
what
completely.
we wanted to attain. And
Completely.
it was our first step into like, oh, okay, we've done some nice weddings, but this is a
Yeah.
nice
I
wedding.
remember one specifically.
Really?
I remember it because of the color scheme.
Oh gosh, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
know,
And I thought
the
you were gonna
pink
kill me.
and the
Actually,
purple and the
I thought you hated
trees.
me that day.
Huh?
I thought you hated me that day.
Why?
We had some changes on some music and stuff.
Oh,
It was a
girl.
little- I
No.
thought you were, I thought
I
Ebony
was too
like, kill
obsessed with
me.
like the hangover drop and like the flowers from the ceiling and like all the pink couches
So
because
story
pink
was-
is like my favorite color.
can't
And so
handle
I
No
walked
way, you
there.
don't
What,
think?
really?
You know,
You don't think?
you
You know
know
what's crazy about that wedding? We were, you remember, we were on a rooftop of a
yes,
building.
rooftop of this like weird office building.
We had tornadoes the night
Yes.
before. It was a miracle that thing was still standing. It was cold.
Yes.
Cold.
Yes.
Yeah, and for all those, and our like green room was an unfinished back room of
Yep.
the office. So it
Sure,
was,
it was like an unfinished.
yeah. I was like, Ebony is never
Space.
going to speak
Yeah,
to
we
me
don't care
again.
about any of that.
No,
No,
yeah.
we
I
really
was like,
don't.
she's never speaking to me
Honey,
again.
I
It's
think we haven't
cold.
eaten dinner.
They're all
No.
freezing. They're miserable. They hate me. Yeah,
No,
it was,
not
yeah.
at all.
It was
I
a
was
rough one.
obsessed. I took so many pictures of the decor.
Did you really?
Obsessed.
That was
like,
a fun one. It was a good
I walked in there and I was
wedding.
like, oh my God, you guys, everybody was like, okay, Ebony.
It was good.
Ebony
It was
is
a good one. The
such a
color was a lot
sucker
of
for
fun.
I'm like,
decor
the styling. Did you
design.
guys see the couches? Did you see the dance floor? Oh my God, the centerpieces. Did you guys see all the place settings? Like
Ebony's
that's,
world.
that's my world.
I love
Her
that.
world.
Well,
Yeah.
I had great clients. I mean, they were like, they
Yeah.
wanted color. They wanted this big,
was
bold
so
look. and
beautiful.
They
I
wanted a
loved
fun
it.
party, so that's what we gave them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of jump into the very beginning.
Okay.
Just starting with how did
Born on a dark. I'm just
Oh God.
not that far back. Sorry. Fast forward. a few.
So it started.
I was born.
It was a long labor
It
for
was
my
a-
mother.
I feel so sad for her.
Tornadic day
how
on
did your career begin? Because obviously, like you went to U of A.
Yeah.
You were from the University of Arkansas.
Do people here know that it's our?
I mean, Clay
Arkansas, not
Johnson, our
Arkansas?
music director, he's Woo Pig.
Yay.
He's off camera right now, but he's
Pig?
big Woo Pig guy. Yeah. So obviously U of A, but like, talk a little bit about how your career started. Like from you coming out of school, it was
Yeah.
interior design.
Yeah.
I'll let you take it from there. But,
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Definitely not the path I had planned. I graduated in the Stone Ages from interior design. I loved it. I loved what I did. But once I graduated, I went to work for another company, for like a designer company. You don't realize at the time, like I didn't have the courage to go out on my own and start my own business. I should have, ridiculous. But you look back and you're like, why did I think you have to go through certain things to figure out where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
So I worked for a couple of different people in the design realm for a little bit. Decided this is not my life's calling. It kind of turned into a sales job, and I was like, I'm not a sales. I'm not selling furniture. I'm not selling couches. I want to be a designer. Or
Right.
whatever. Long drives, phone calls. Talking to my mom every day. It turned into, well, why don't you be a teacher? Why don't you get your? So I actually have had like 3 lifespans here. I got my teaching certification, so I taught high school.
What?
Yeah, neither one of them knew that.
No idea.
What?
I taught
what
high
class?
school. Guess. I want to see if you can even guess. I'm curious. Yeah.
Art.
Okay.
I'm gonna say language arts. English language arts.
Okay, that's actually really amazing. So I did long-term subbing in English, 10th grade English.
See? All right, one for me.
One for you. But then I actually moved into careers like interior design, clothing management. So facts, home ec is actually what I taught.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That checks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Yep.
Yep.
I am not a chef.
Right.
Definitely not a chef. Mac and cheese is about as detailed as we get. And like 5:30, I'm like, God, they're going to want to eat again. I got to feed those people again.
I gotta feed those people.
Those people. Bless them. But no, I taught for a couple years. Loved it. I actually really did love it. But then when I got pregnant with my first child, I was like, well, I don't think I want to go babysit other people's kids. And,
Right.
Preach. Okay, let
Yeah.
me just interject for a second
Yep.
because my wife was a teacher for 13 years, and First off, the crossover between wedding planners and teachers is so close because of the organizational
So true.
aspect of the way that teachers spend so much of their time organizing their lives,
Yeah.
minute by
That
minute,
makes so much sense.
day
Yeah.
by day. The
Yeah.
crossover between that is it's insane.
Yeah.
And also that was, you know, and now Abby is working for us now as communications director.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
And you
Yeah.
know, it was a tough decision for her to make to get out
I mean,
of
if
that.
you think about it, like teaching students, planning a wedding, I mean,
Yeah. It's
it's not too
lesson
far off
planning,
base.
all
too
that
far
in
off.
itself.
Lesson
not too far-
planning,
yeah.
event
Yes.
planning,
Yeah.
like.
But you
Yeah.
saying that like you didn't want to watch somebody else's
I mean,
kids
I know.
and when she got pregnant with Susanna and Whit and going through that, like that's where she was at, and she was like, you know,
I don't want to put my kid in daycare so that I can go babysit. And I
watch
really
other
did
people's
love my
kids.
kids, and some of my past students are actually clients. Like I've done their weddings, which is actually really
yeah.
fun.
That's
That's kind of
love
fun.
that.
I stayed home for a couple years and I painted. I had started a little business where I was
You painted
So you're all of this is so. I'm so
the most interesting woman in the world. Like, sign her up for the next Dos Equis
That's me.
commercial. Dude. What?
That's funny.
Crazy.
I don't always. I don't even. I can't think of it. I don't always, but when I do,
But
Right.
whatever.
I do an Amanda Reed event, and it's amazing.
So I painted. I did some stuff. I painted canvases like for kids' bedrooms.
Oh,
I painted some
wow.
murals. I did a lot of kind of stuff like that. I had a good little business going. I know.
Okay, you know what? This all checks out.
Yeah.
Just seeing the way that I've worked with you on so many events and your attention to detail of everything.
Thank
Like,
you.
none of this is, I mean, this is the first time me hearing any of
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
which I love, but it doesn't, it's not shocking at all.
A lot of people don't know that, and I kind of like gloss over it and don't really make a big deal of it. But I had like some pretty cool clients. I did a little bit of sewing kind of stuff, but I really stuck with like painting, and it was a lot of fun. I loved it. I really did, and still have things that are kind of all around town that I've done. But pretty quickly, once that got going, and as I knew that my daughter was getting ready to start kindergarten, I was like, well, you know, like as we said, she's now almost a senior, which is crazy. But I knew that I was ready to kind of get back into design, and like really, I don't think I wanted to just paint. I was like, I think there's more that I want to do here, and so I had a friend who had a business planning events, and I was like, hey, if you ever need help, let me know. Famous last words, and
Right.
yeah.
Remember
famous
when
last
you
words.
said
you know that one time?
exactly?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
that's-
need you.
Yeah, and that's where it started. And literally within just a couple months, we partnered. We partnered for a while. It was a good way to get into the industry and learn what I needed to learn on that end. But we definitely had different perspectives on like how a business needed to grow and morph and change and things that we needed to do. So not long after, I mean, I'd say within a couple years, I branched out on my own, and ARW, here we are. That's never expected. I did not plan to be a business owner. I didn't plan for any of this stuff, but it just kind of happened, and it's
Yeah.
grown. And I think every time that I've gotten to a place where there's been two paths where I could kind of go one way or the other.
Yeah.
I've taken the scarier one.
Good.
And
As you should.
Those are always the most
That's the
rewarding
really-
entrepreneur.
that's the
But
truth.
you know
They
what
are.
though? That's the entrepreneur brain. Like I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
anybody that is like a risk taker,
Yeah.
an entrepreneur,
But I didn't
a
think I was.
creative,
But I
though.
didn't think I was.
No, but
That's
you
the
have that
crazy.
creative,
Yeah.
and it's the
Yeah.
creative in you that
Yeah.
makes you like, well, I want to see what's over here.
Yeah.
Like, everybody knows what's over
I
here.
know
This
what's
is
behind
safe
door
and
number
good.
Yes.
one.
Right.
At
I want to
work.
go over here because it might be something cool, and I can create, and I can,
Yeah.
and I fall into that.
Easily,
like,
yeah.
hole all the time.
Yep.
Not whole, but like
Oh,
But it
no,
is.
that's,
No, it
that's
is.
yes.
yeah, it's
That
like
is-
constantly changing. And like every day, there's a new idea
Yeah.
for something
that is
I'm
an
Why not give it a
artist.
shot?
That is an artist's blessing and a
Yeah.
curse.
It completely is.
Taking
Exactly.
that path and chasing that down and finding that thing that like I have no idea what's on the other side.
Right.
And
Figure it
then
out.
But you're not afraid of it. That's the thing.
Right.
Most some people are afraid of it, and you're not afraid of it.
and you got to dive into it with like
Still
man, this-
scared.
It's
Yeah.
scary, but you're
scared,
not
but
afraid
I'm
of
willing,
it.
right,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah,
It can be
yeah.
scary,
Yeah.
but you're not afraid of it.
The first example of that is even just like that I got into it, and then and a completely unfamiliar category
Yeah.
of business that I didn't really know. But then even moving into like when I got so busy, I was doing myself like 28, 29 weddings a year. That's a lot of weddings. That's a lot of weddings for a photographer. That's a lot of weddings for a band. That's a lot of weddings for a planner who I'm holding all the cards for all
Yeah.
these different clients because I do
Was that
full
your first
scale.
year alone? With just you, or was that you with your
That
with who you were partnered with when you first started?
That was really once I kind of separated out and was like, okay, this is me.
So your first year in, you was
Probably,
29?
probably, yeah.
Gracious. That's
But the thing
ambitious.
was
Knowing what we
unintentional,
know about weddings,
right?
that's crazy.
Now, those weren't all what you see now.
Yeah.
By all means. I mean, they definitely
Yeah.
weren't. And the point I was getting to with that is I realized that half of those weddings I did not need to be at. Half of those weddings did not require my, eye for design or whatever. And I had team members who were like wanting more. They wanted to do more work. They wanted to, they wanted to take on their own events. And I was like, okay, 2 + 2 equals, I'm going to have people work for me. I'm going to have, and honestly, no one really had done that in our area. There weren't really like big groups of like planners. And as this business has grown, so that was kind of the first really big leap of faith I feel like that I took, because I was like, let's start here. Let's see where this kind of goes. And I'd have 1 or 2 people working for it. And then there's always pitfalls, because no matter what, no matter how great that wedding is, whatever goes wrong, my name is on it.
Exactly.
No matter how, and I've got amazing people, and some that have worked with me that have been great and some that have been not as great. But it's trusting somebody else with your name, which I know y'all do too. You send out 4 different bands and you're trusting that basis to be the best basis that's going to represent your band. You're
Or
trusting a
whoever's
brand new
leading that band.
yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
You're trusting a drummer that I'm like, hey, this guy's sick, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And truly, he actually is. I mean, so you have to. It was a huge leap of faith, and it was a big place where I had to go. Okay, all right, I can do this, and take on like associate planners, and it went from 1 to 2 to 4 to 6. I think I've got 8 right now. I don't even
incredible.
know, because I'm training a
That's
couple.
amazing.
It's insane, and like, honestly, a revolving door. And I have the coolest interns. And I don't like the word intern. They're team members. They're associates, whatever.
And all of your team is they're the best.
Well,
The
they love
best
you
of the
guys
best.
as much as you love them. They do.
Yeah.
And they truly all have. I mean, I learned something at every single event, but they're all so eager to take in more information and to absorb more and to be the best at what we do. So,
Well, it's crazy, because like you explaining this to us is like it rings so true in the way that Chris, who's the owner of our company, kind of the way he started this thing. It's like a very similar story, and like he started as one party band, which started with Ebony. And
Really?
I mean, it was.
I was the second female.
She was the
Wow.
second
After
female that came in.
OGs.
you are the OG. You're the almost
so,
OG.
So yeah, there's the,
That's
and
pretty cool.
I think we've talked about this before. There's the OG fives that
Yeah.
initially started, and then Ebony came in as the second female, I guess the 6th,
Yeah.
and then it was
Because I was working with the OGs until they got enough folks to then branch out into a second band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was a year or 2 later that Ash Reynolds and myself came on,
Okay.
and that formed like the OG 8. And at that point, it was like really one big Lost Wax, and then Chris started seeing, okay, well, there's a market for
I could do this, and I
Yeah,
could do
exactly.
this.
multiple
Exactly.
bands, the same way that you're talking about, like your planners and your other associates working under you came in, and it just kind of branched from there. And then we just started branching off different bands, and we saw that we were growing in this market, and Chris will tell you, if he were here, he's like, I never really planned for any of this, but it just became what it was. And I think the most beautiful.
Well, it's great that you can recognize that and then just continue to grow, and then you can get into other varieties and then grow what you are able to provide,
Right.
which, segue
Right.
kind of in something that we are looking into getting into is the luxury sort of
Right.
style. And we've
Right.
had that experience with you, as
Oh, yeah.
Patrick mentioned. And so I'm curious to know, kind of like, did you see like a shift? Do you think it was a natural transition and like kind of into that market just because of your experience and kind of being in the scene and people trust you? And then like, this is a 2-part. kind of
Okay, you may have to
question.
remind me the first part in a
Okay.
second, but I'll come back to it.
And then just like, what do you think differentiates, from like
Yeah.
your lovely style,
Yeah.
to like that actually elevated luxury style?
I love that question. So I got as my name became more recognizable, as my name, well, she's the girl you got to call. She's the person you got to call. I was like, me? Okay, all right. Because I mean, I'm so low key. And it's funny because people think things about me that I'm like, this is not me. Like they think I'm so diva, where I'm like, I'm not. I'm so low key.
No, but you have to
Until-
present a brand that is what it
But
is.
yeah, it's the truth. And so
Until you gotta get
until
your shit.
Until then. But it's funny because like 99% of the time I look homeless. I'm in my office with like giant sweats and a messy bun, like in no makeup. Like that is me. And I'm like, I'm treating my skin today. And then I'm like, okay, then I got to run and get ready real quick in the bathroom and look halfway decent. But I think that people starting to recognize my name and for people to kind of like, well, my friend used you and you did an amazing job, but I want to do more than she did. And I want to do bigger and better than they did. And I want to do this. And people trying to one up each other kind of benefited from that, I'll say. I mean, even transitioning from the types of venues that we worked in, the types of entertainment that we hired, love a DJ, but moving from predominantly DJs, once in a while a band, to now almost vast majority of my events are bands, and occasionally I have a DJ, which again, they're great. I have nothing against that, but even with the cost associated with that, it's just that different level of service. And the floral budgets grew and the linen budgets grew and the food, I mean, every bit of it, and the elevation of the type of drinks that we were serving, and it wasn't just beer and wine and Truly Unruly.
Yeah.
And stuff in red Solo cups. Scary liquor in red Solo cups. It's probably mixing that ice chest over there, to be honest.
It's brown liquor, I'll tell you that.
He used his foot to mix
Brown liquor.
Well, let me, I want to stop you for a second because I have a couple things I want to ask. So you're talking about like your growth into this market, but also you are in a market in Bentonville, which for those of you guys that don't know it is the
If you don't know, you know, but
it is the birthplace of Walmart, where, in this market, you have a lot of money there. And as you're moving into luxury markets, you're basically sitting on a gold mine in Bentonville. And
yes.
So,
but however, I think I know what you're going to say. Because of that and because of what you've done, you've been able to.
Yes. That's part of what I was going to say. I've got to. I'm gonna let you finish your thought.
No. I'm glad that we opened it up to that because I want to get your insight into that.
So it's kind of interesting because I would say in other parts of the state there's more old money and they spend differently than what I would say. Money's great. Whatever your money is.
Money's money. New and old, trust me, we know
and it's a very different type of
It is a very
clientele
different
and
type of money.
what their wants are and what their needs are and what they're willing to spend on. And so different parts of the state will spend a little bit differently. Different parts of the country, not even just the state, but different areas will spend differently. And a lot of the money in our area is a little bit, I would say, more conservative with how they show what they have. Maybe that's because we work for the world's largest corporation. Maybe that's part of it, and because their prices are supposed to be on the low end, so we don't want to be flashy and we don't want to be ostentatious, because that is something that I feel like people, they're very careful. Like even when they hire me, because they know that that's what I can produce for them, they're like, but we don't want to be over the top. Fine, that's great, but that's why you brought me. I get that, but we also want to kind of straddle that line, right? But we
might not have
but we want some good booze,
right?
We don't need flowers dripping from everywhere.
We don't need flowers dripping from every corner, crevice, and orifice.
But just most of it. But it's.
But everybody's gonna get a T-bone, and we're gonna have Wagyu buffets.
And it's gonna be Woodford Reserve, and it's fine. We've got our winery bringing in
exactly.
But that's the thing so it's a different type of spend, and so sometimes I have to push people to be like, look, I know that you think that we're in a beautiful venue and it is gorgeous, but if we don't do X, Y, and Z, it's going to look like the last 10 weddings that were here that were basic, and it's going to look like exactly what it looks like on any given Tuesday. And so, I try to encourage my clients, spend within whatever you want to spend, and your budget is your budget. We'll do whatever we need to do, but here's what I think you need to do to kind of set this wedding apart for everybody else. And I know there was another part of the question, and I can't remember where we went with it.
Well, you answered the majority of the questions that I had was like navigating a market like that, because obviously, like with us with Lost Wax, that is our goal for this year. Is in our goal every year that we've been a company for the last 15 years is to always elevate and level up into the next market. And what we're chasing down now is kind of moving from that lovely level market into the elite luxury market. And you're one of a handful of planners that have really tapped into that market. And I guess so if you're hiring a band, and what is it that you're like, let's say that you've got a client with 100,000 plus 100K plus budget.
Right.
Like, and not necessarily band, but vendors in general. Like, what are you kind of pitching? What are you looking for out of these vendors and bands? Like, as far as like to set that apart, like what you were saying, like you want to make something different from someone else's. What are the things that you're looking for out of those bands and vendors?
I want to shout this from the rooftops because it's the truth. It's people who are willing to deliver what they say they're going to deliver, not under deliver. I mean, and under promise and over deliver. Let's say it like that. But also, let's say that if last minute I'm like, oh my God, Patrick, we completely forgot the whatever. You're gonna, you know what? I got it. I can make up that song. I got it. We'll figure it out. Things happen. You know, there's miscommunication sometimes, whatever. But the fact that your team, and I'm speaking to y'all specifically, but and I will say y'all a lot. Sorry, because I'm an Arkansas girl. Sorry.
Arkansas.
Can take the girl out of Arkansas.
No, that's all right. That's part of the charm.
We also say
part of the charm.
you guys, Midwestern.
We say
you
y'all.
guys, you say y'all. Okay.
We say
All
y'all.
my dad's family's
I say y'all
from
and
Tennessee and
Finna.
South
Finna.
Carolina.
I say Finna, but I'm
we-
gonna throw that in there. Finna.
Yeah.
Finna.
I'm finna go. What you finna do?
I'm finna get ready.
What you finna do?
Get ready to go.
Finna get ready to go?
I'm finna get ready to go. I'm gonna throw that in my
What y'all finna
vernacular
do?
now.
There we go.
Yeah, in my vernacular.
I've
I
heard
love it.
that from
Exactly.
Ebony 6 times every event I have.
Always.
to do.
What y'all finna do?
Yeah.
I do.
What you finna-
What y'all
I
finna
kinda
do?
like- I'm gonna say that. I need to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's
What y'all finna do?
what we finna do.
But
Do I sound good? Do I sound stupid saying she lost her hat? That was good. She lost her hat saying that.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
God. Question was I don't even see. I can't
yeah,
even
no, the
Well, we
question
were
was
just
like, okay, so back
like with
to,
bands, like
yeah.
what do
are
do
we
you
looking
think
for?
that
What do we
like
need?
clients are looking for? What are you looking for? What is it the thing that like sets like, you know, one band apart from another
Yeah.
when it comes to like the luxury, you know?
It's about the willingness to do whatever is needed to make it happen.
Mm.
I do stuff all day, every day that's not my job,
Right. Right.
but it's my job. It's my job.
Okay, so would you say there are certain when you get like pushback, like, oh, we don't do this and we don't do that and we don't do this?
I don't say that.
No, I'm saying
to-
when you get that from
Oh.
like certain vendors.
You won't be back. Sorry, you won't be
flexibility,
back. Flexibility, willingness to help,
That's-
willingness
jump
to
in.
help,
This got it right into what I
Like,
wanted to talk
yeah.
about. Yep.
full package of service.
I'll give you
Service.
an example that's not even musically related. This is a caterer one time. They spent on a small wedding. They spent a considerable amount of money on food. And this has been probably 10 years ago. We ran out of food. There's no reason we should have run out of food. No reason whatsoever. And I'm walking into the kitchen and I was like, what am I supposed to feed the mother of the bride who wrote the check for this event? That's what I got. I don't know. I mean, I was scraping together whatever potatoes and whatever little sad pieces of fish were left. I was like, go get the woman some Chick-fil-A. Like, get her. Sponsored by Chick-fil-A? Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sponsored by Chick-fil-A.
My daughter will love that sound.
Banner.
Love it.
Banner.
I love it. No, seriously.
Call it in right now. Sorry.
Chicken nuggets. What?
Sorry.
I love it.
Hold on.
Listen,
So hard.
you are so fine. We done pimped Adidas.
so
we
you're-
done pimped
yeah.
Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Like,
Got some gold again?
They're not
Exactly.
sponsoring us, but we're
Listen.
doing it. All right, so go
Anyway,
on.
so caterer's just like, I mean, I was like, but find something. Like, your job is to
Cook
provide food.
something,
Yeah,
like-
I'm sorry that you're out of it. That sucks. That is the worst
Yeah.
feeling. I've never brought them back ever again. I've never brought it. And I will say I gave them a second chance. And the same thing happened again. And I was like, okay, we're dead.
That's
We're
it.
done. That's not happening
done.
again.
Yeah.
Can't do that. I mean,
like you have one job.
one
You
one
have
job.
one job.
One job. And I have 10,000 jobs.
You have
and I
10,000
love
right.
it. I love it. But
See,
my
that's
job
a
is
But
to
that's the
make
thing,
sure.
though.
point as well.
Literally.
Yes.
Like when you
have-
hire your vendors, and I think a lot of times people don't think about that and they get so caught up on like, well, what I'm going to do and what you know what I mean? But you have one job.
My
Feed the
job is
people.
to make sure that you know what your job is, and I'm
Yes.
gonna get out of your way.
Right.
That's what, and
See-
I feel like that's why we work so well together, though. And I mean, this is not just a love fest, but I mean, truly, because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they got it. They're gonna find it. Here's a quick note, whatever. Okay,
Well,
great. do your
and
thing.
again, and that's, I mean, again, you answered like my follow-up question to you was just going to
I've
be
answered
like,
all your questions.
you really have, and this is why we have you on our podcast is to answer. Like, it's
Yeah.
you know, what we've learned in the years of doing this is the band to wedding planner relationship is
Paramount.
the most important, and of
Absolutely.
course, like we're always looking to serve the client.
Absolutely.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
But for us, our long-term investment is in the planner because we have that client one night and one night only.
It's reciprocal, though.
But it is.
It is reciprocal.
Well, and a
so-
lot of it is, a lot of it does end up in our hands at some time. You know what I mean? You're floating around and,
I figured
know
out.
what I mean?
don't
And
know.
like, and there have been times like from the bandstand, we're like, are we ready for find your tables, find your,
Trying. I'm sorry, we're not. We're not there.
right.
Sorry, we're
and
we're
you
behind
have
on
to be
whatever.
locked in. And if you don't have that good relationship,
That's right.
it's,
That's the truth.
I'm curious. I've been working as a band leader. I work with bride and grooms, and we're working on their music and the needs in that. And as a planner, so I'm just curious, kind of like, what are some things that like you're seeing that are trending or per se that word?
As far as like decor and things, I'm seeing a lot of like color wash, like head to toe, like we're gonna go all black, we're gonna go all white, we're gonna go all
monochromatic
purple.
type of
I'm kind of into that. I think that's really interesting.
That is interesting.
I'm seeing floral, like a lot of monobotanical looks. So you'll have only tulips on this stage in this arrangement, or we'll have only we'll kind of, instead of being like which I still love, like a very wild and full look, but a very kind of capsule look, if that makes sense. Like we're going, this is all roses right here. This is all, even within a big arrangement, to have areas where clusters. Yeah.
Love that.
Seeing
I
that
was
a lot.
actually, I just attended we did a wedding at a venue here.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Austin and the Abbott group.
Love.
Right.
Yeah.
But this, I can't remember the florist, but it was like all reds and pinks.
Yes.
And that's
the cluster.
it.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous. And I had not seen.
Yeah.
And then it was like levels.
It's very interesting, and it's visually
Artsy,
entertaining.
almost like, it was like a vignette.
It is.
Like-
right?
I'm
normal,
nodding
like
I know what's going on.
He's doing great. You're doing great. It's like
You're doing great here.
Your normal
Flowers.
You'll
backdrop,
keep talking. I'm
flowers,
nodding like I know what's going on.
greenery,
Yeah.
levels.
tableaux,
I mean, I love to
It's
hear. I
good.
love to see.
vignettes.
Y'all go on.
But I'm seeing a lot. I'm loving that. Even as far as like custom cocktails, and I mean, yes, everyone loves to name their drink after their dog. I think that's sweet and it's cute and everything. But I think even beyond that, like coming up with something that's just unique to you. Like, what do you love? Like, I don't care what you want to serve to your guests.
Right.
What do you love? Like, let's
Right.
make this wedding about you. And that to me,
Because all y'all, when it comes to my wedding, y'all eat drinking French 75s and Aperol Spritz.
thank you, ma'am,
Yes.
and truly.
And truly.
Hey,
truly
here's
unruly,
the thing,
unruly.
Because if we're talking
Cheers.
design and stuff like that, I do want to jump in here because I saw your last reel from your
gosh.
Instagram that was like you had the welcome walls set up with like
Did you like that?
keys to a good time.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cute.
Passports, like it was so like, and it was like literally like hotel keys
Yeah,
with
I was-
everybody's name
I
on
can't
them
take credit for that
invites.
event. That was not my event. It was my team. It was not mine.
Okay.
I wish I could take credit for that one because.
But still, but
Taylor
still,
killed it. It was
like
so
the
cute.
ideas that you guys are churning out it's incredible. And
Do
like,
would you find that like more like creative, like a little splash of like
That is my favorite way to do it. Even if somebody is like very traditional, they don't really necessarily care about it. I'm like, we got to give them something to surprise them, something that's a little bit different from what everybody else is seeing. I've got an
Yes.
upcoming client who's doing she's a kindergarten teacher, heart-shaped sunglasses are the thing. Like she loves heart. And it's, I mean, that's just a silly little thing, but all of her guests are getting heart-shaped sunglasses. We tied in their name with a Taylor Swift lyric.
yes.
And they're all getting these cute little sunglasses as their kind of silly favor for the dance floor because they get those anyway. But this is a way to give them their silly little gift and make it something special for her guests. So I love getting to personalize it with something that people are like, oh my God, I haven't seen that. Something different, something unique that hasn't been seen.
Anything different in like the format of the wedding, like whether it's gone from a little bit more religious to more secular, or like ceremonies not in churches, or are people still doing church weddings?
You know, it's interesting. For a while there, we were completely out of churches. We weren't really doing weddings in churches anymore. In the last couple of years, we've had a few kind of go back to the church situation, which I think is wonderful. But what I'm seeing more than anything is people that are willing to make it their own, regardless. And that kind of goes along with everything else I've said, but they're willing to make the event their own. Some of the most spiritual weddings that I've been to are not in a church. And some of the most non-spiritual weddings are in it's a church. I think it's all about how you want to provide that. for example, Shelby, I'm pointing at you again, but we had an amazing wedding that the bride really wanted a worship moment. I think a song Shelby didn't even know, but she belted it out and everybody started singing along. People are sobbing, people are crying. It was the most beautiful moment. And it was completely unexpected. It was something that I don't think that even they fully understood what was going to happen in that moment. And it was beautiful. So I love when people are willing to take something that's maybe it is more traditional, but put it in a non-traditional setting, because I think it kind of marries those two, but it kind of pulls those things together, to make it to make it feel more aligned
Special
with
or
what,
to them pertaining to, without giving away like all of your secrets. What's like one thing that you sort of like to throw in, or like, what's one little nugget of something that's like a creative that, giving out without giving away all your sauce?
My sauce. I love personalized anything. So, and you will say, I mean, as many of my weddings as my clients will let me, they have like for a cocktail hour, they'll have a butler towel that has the monogram on it, or has the name of the hors d'oeuvre on it, or a special hat that someone might be wearing today.
Oh, my goodness.
With the clients, with the fabulous Charleston
Look what I
client,
happen to be wearing.
Yes, we came up with a cute little French phrase that, yes, with all my heart, because their last name was Hart. Very good. You've been practicing your French.
I actually had my godmother was in from LA and she speaks French.
Did she approve?
And I had this hat.
Did she approve our translation?
Yes, and she's like, and she helped me with the pronunciation.
And did she approve our translation of it though?
100%.
Because I got
and
real nervous for a minute there.
Gym. I've been like, it's
Rep it.
which yeah, I mean that
You're a cheese ball, Pat.
Well, I
I'm gonna wear my Amanda Reed hat.
He has another one too.
You know what?
It says
I'm trying to be cool for my cool friends, dude. All right.
He has another one that says I heart ARW. Say it back. Don't you have that one?
Yes.
Say it back. That's cute.
I have all the ARW merch.
He does have a lot of merch.
Send it out.
Yeah.
And we were on stage, which this wedding was. This was the one in
Charleston,
South Carolina, that we just did. This
sure
was
y'all
like 2
get
weeks
here.
ago, and it was shot at the house where they did Outer Banks.
Outer Banks, yeah.
And
Sarah Cameron's house, yeah.
let me tell you, the sunset.
Oh
that
my gosh,
being off,
magic.
Just off the ocean coming.
It looked like Ebony. I mean, the colors in her
It
jacket.
was-
Like, I'm not kidding.
sunset.
You were a sunset. Was it not though? It was like pink and red and purple. It was like glorious. It was glorious.
And this was monogrammed onto the dance floor.
Yes.
There
Personal
was
touch.
the
Yeah,
most
personal
beautiful floral overhang with like vibey lights hanging out over it, and it was. I mean, that was.
Oh, I got to work with some cool vendors.
So what I'm gathering is, I'm going back to the luxury
Bring
thing.
it back. Yep.
Personal touches, the customer service, so above and beyond.
Above and beyond.
It's not necessarily about. I mean, obviously there's a dollar amount involved, but
Right.
it goes beyond that. It
Right.
goes beyond like just personal touches, customer service, creativity,
Absolutely.
just outside of the box maybe.
Always. Anything. Because I love it when y'all are like, when anyone's like, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think about this? Because, and that's, I truly, like I said, I want to hire the best to be part of my team. And then I want to let you shine. Like, I'm not going to get in your way. I want you to come up with what is going to be the best for you, for our client. I mean, that's why I keep coming back.
Would you think that, could you say then that luxury is sort of over the years has changed from just like throwing a bunch of money at the biggest place?
I think that's a really great statement. Yes.
And the biggest cake and the best food and the biggest dress to more so like the experience of it?
I do. I think that's a really great way to say that.
Yeah.
I love that statement because I think it really is. It's going from, great, super, it's big and grand and whatever, and it's boring.
Right.
As opposed to, we served the cutest little, banana pudding shooters on the dance floor because that was the groom's favorite snack when he was a kid. I mean, it's his grandmother's recipe and it's adorable. Like, that stuff is what people are going to remember.
Yeah.
It's a very inexpensive way to bring in something special, but it is special to
It
them.
says a lot about the changing times of like weddings
Absolutely,
in
it
general
does.
and just like how what
100%.
people are doing and
Yeah.
how they're planning it. And I think it says a lot about what is defined as luxury,
Agreed.
because for me, I think for my mom, a luxury wedding would be something different
Agreed.
than what I would think a luxury. Not just because I've been in the industry, and same for you.
Right.
And so I think that's really neat. I've just kind of been thinking about some of the stuff that you've been saying, and kind of came to that thought, like, oh yeah, so it does make a lot of sense. Like, it's not just about the money you spend;
Well,
it's about the
Not at all.
experience that you can give your friends and family that come.
Well, and that's
Nail on the
like
head, yeah.
something like that I started doing at a lot of, because I've worked a ton of weddings with you.
Yeah.
And you were the first planner that when we started doing, like when spotlight dances became a thing.
That's my favorite moment
Like
of the
for
whole
real,
day.
like listen, if
Melt.
there's any bride and grooms out there, like forget your bouquet toss, those moments.
No, none
like,
of it.
Look, if you got single friends, which by the way, that's the only time to do it. If you don't have more
Please
than
don't.
5
We
single
had a-
friends,
we-
please
Please
stop.
Really
But-
cute. I'm gonna interrupt you. Sorry. We had a wedding all of our friends were married.
Oh.
So she threw the bouquet to me.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like,
See,
I'm gonna throw
those-
it to the band. I was
So
like,
that's fun.
hey.
Thank you.
But when it comes to moments in what as a band member, as
Yep.
a singer, guitar player, part of the band,
Yep.
like the spotlight moment, the spotlight dance at the end of a wedding, to me has become my favorite part of the night.
I'm a puddle.
because these clients
I'm a
I'm a
puddle.
puddle.
have
I
been
love it.
stressing all night long.
Yep.
And it is just stress, stress, stress. It is go say hi to everybody, and you're moving at such a pace that you don't really have a moment to take it all in. And so when you can clear a room and have one moment together with your bride or your groom to just take it all
Your
in.
person, yeah.
And you were the first planner that I start like when
Really?
you were like, well, I want this. They want this song.
Yep.
And I was like, let's just do all this stripped down acoustic. I was like, well, we
Oh,
want this
it was
with
so
the band.
good.
And I'm like, how about we just, and I think the first one was like, it's like a Jason Isbell or like a Tyler
It was.
Childers
It sure
song.
was.
Yes.
It was.
And I was like, you know what? I've done this song a million times. Just
But it's
like,
so special.
let me put a super reverby guitar on it and make it just because it's such an intimate moment that they wanted the band to do it. And I'm like,
All right, brides and grooms.
Don't let the band.
Well, but you're standing there in the remnants of your party. Everybody's
It's-
outside. They're getting ready to do sparklers or whatever
Yeah.
send off. You're getting ready to jump in your car and take off.
It is a special. I've
It's my
observed those,
It's
and it's
you, and it's hard getting everybody out. We got to get all those
That's the
guests
fun
out of there.
part.
That's
It's the
lights
herding
out.
cats.
Come on, go,
It's
go, go,
10
go,
minutes
go.
of herding
songs
cats
to
out.
get
Yeah.
people out. Like,
You gotta go
yeah,
now.
I can't stay
Party
here, but
is
I gotta
Closing
go.
time.
Still closing time. Still closing time. And we're like literally pushing people on
Yeah.
the door. But then it's like,
It's
okay,
such a
lights
special
out,
moment.
y'all go. And it's literally
It's
like,
almost even more special than the first dance.
honestly, no, it really is. And
Yeah.
a lot of times I like to repeat either the first dance song on a stripped down version,
I love it.
my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
or even I did have a situation where, and I don't know that you remember this even, but I had a situation where the person who was DJing for the dinner part of it, and we moved back into another space for the reception, messed up on the first dance song. And I came running down the hall and I was like, play it. I don't care. Figure it out. And you were like, sure. I think you
Yeah.
pulled the lyrics up and like
Yeah.
you managed, you got through it. And
Yeah.
I was like, thank God, because I
Yeah.
had to salvage that moment for them.
Yes.
And being able to surprise them with that moment that they were not expecting. So because they were supposed to, as the guests kind of came in the room, whatever, they were supposed to be
Yes.
kind of dancing to a completely different song. But we were able to salvage that first dance moment and give them something that was way more special. So that was huge, huge, huge. I remember
Yeah.
that. But I love when we get to do that. And when people resist it, I'm like, just trust
Well,
me.
those, and that
trust
comes like with the scripting with the client to be like, hey, you want this moment, like make it an intimate moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've got this song in mind. And there's some clients like, yeah, I want to hear the song as it is, fine.
Great, whatever.
But like when I know it's a song I know real well, I'm like, let me give it to you. And let me give it to
it's
you
so
in
good.
a very reverb,
It's so
sub
good.
guitar thing.
I'm gonna say, what do you think is just like an unneeded stress in weddings? What's an unneeded stress that some people probably
Good point.
stress about that you probably like? It's not. You really shouldn't, or something. Maybe people make a bigger deal out of it.
I need to be careful here. Let me think about this.
The cake song. I don't know.
No, it's a good
I
question.
love the way this is starting.
Yes. I think people, like I said earlier, people worry about like what do our guests want? What do our guests? No, what do you want? Make this about you, and let's make this
Yes.
special. What is an unnecessary stress? I will say, I think people get really, really caught up in the weeds of they're trying to control the momentum of the day, the momentum of the evening, instead of letting the people that they've
That are in
hired to
charge
run
do it.
this. And they're like, well, I haven't heard this song. Well, we haven't cut the cake yet. I got you. there's a reason we haven't done that yet. Your aunt is in there in the bathroom crying. The dog pooped in the yard. I'm trying to
Well, look, in Charleston, they were like, well, we want the cake from here, and we want to move the whole cake platform.
And how
here.
quickly did we move the
And
cake?
I had to like jump in with Colby.
man
Shout out
jumped
to
in.
Colby, by the way.
we were like, skirts up, let's
And
go.
she's like, can you lift this concrete
10,000
platform
pound
thing? And I
cake.
was like, let me warm up
got
real
this, I'm
quick.
ready.
But I
But
had
that's-
to walk that thing across, and like they want it from here to here.
Across the room.
Yes.
But you know what? That made her happy, and it was, again, willing to do it.
Client satisfaction.
Client
That's it.
satisfaction.
That's it.
That was not your job. Your job was not to move that damn
And
cake.
that leads back
But guess
exactly.
what?
That leads back into what you're saying. It's
Yes.
not my job, but we're
Yeah.
there, and I'm
Yeah.
going to do it.
Let's go.
I'm not going to
Let's
sit
go.
back and be like, no, that
Sorry,
ain't me.
I'm all off the clock.
Exactly.
It's beer time.
You know?
Yeah. No, that was absolutely,
Okay.
yeah. And so people worrying about things, worrying about just little minutia that we've got it under control. And there's a reason that we haven't. Why haven't you handed out the glow sticks for the dance floor yet?
Trust your planner, trust
Yeah.
the process.
Promise you it's coming. They're getting ready to take a break. I don't want to give them glow sticks and then the
I
band's
like
going
that.
to go.
That's a T-shirt. Trust your planner, trust the process.
Yes.
It's
exactly.
true.
Most extravagant and or out of the box thing.
I'm really pretty easy to get along with. Like I said, you do your job, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I had a situation where I'd rented these absolutely gorgeous clear acrylic tables that were fabulous. I had 4 of them. I confirmed on the order multiple times. 4 tables. Great.
Mm-hmm.
The rental company forgot them. Rental company was 3 hours away. We'll get them there. It'll be fine. Great. Okay. So we realized it early enough that we got the tables. They forgot the legs. So, and we're down to the wire. We're like, literally, they're going to come in the room and not be able to have it done. Without going into great detail, we went through a lot of trauma with 2 other companies who continued to forget the tables. Like, it was 4 opportunities. You had one job. Remember that conversation?
Yeah, right.
4 opportunities. 4 different people were supposed to pick up. Just get me the legs. I don't get upset typically. I'm like, I can't. I'm just gonna walk away. Whatever. I had a situation where the band was warming up. It was not y'all. The band was warming up, and I was. My assistant has told me this. She's like, you know that when like somebody's yelling and then the bad words start to come and then music blares it out. She's like, that was you. Because I was like, what the? And I just went off because I was like, how have you messed this up so bad? And that is so not, and I mean, the poor guy was like in tears. He wouldn't take his sunglasses off. And I mean, he's a gem. I love working. But I just I lost it on him because I was like, 4 opportunities to fix this, 4 to get this right.
Yeah.
And everything in this room was built around these tables. I know
Yeah.
it is such an inconsequential thing in the grand scheme, but to me, the bride, thank God, never knew. We worked it. It was fine. She never knew the thing happened, but things happen.
The
like
magic
that.
of weddings.
Yes.
The magic of weddings.
Well,
And
that brings up another point:
yeah.
is never to let a bride or groom know that if
Are you
if shit hits the
joking?
fan,
No,
they
no.
never know about it.
They don't know. Mm-mm,
And
no.
that's you and I talking behind a pipe and drape somewhere, being like, "All right, shit has happened, but we cannot let them know."
If you guys
Yeah.
only knew.
Oh my
Yes.
God. Yeah.
If
And-
you only
Yes.
knew.
But I think that's part of being a professional and knowing, when I have to come to you, I'm going to come to you and be like, listen, all right, here's what happened, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I can solve the problem before you even know there was a problem. then-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into. I've got one more.
Okay.
Little quick fire question.
I'm sorry, I'm keeping
And
you
this
up for
this
so
one,
long.
no. This has been amazing. Like this has been incredible. Like
Oh my gosh. Quit.
the most extravagant wedding that you've ever done, and I mean, take into consideration price point, everything, budget, all in. What is your most extravagant wedding? Because I know you've done everything from Cabo
Yeah.
to, I mean, you've done a lot of your weddings are extravagant. But what's one that stands out in your mind? You've done Aspen. You've done.
You
I've
can
done
be like,
Park City
you
a
can
couple
look back and be like,
Yes, Park City, Utah.
I
those
did that.
weddings.
I did that. That was
Yes.
me.
What's the
Meant
one
to
that
be
you're
weddings.
most proud of? And don't even think about us. Just like, what is your you as a planner? What is your most this is.
That is so hard for me to answer because
I know you take
what's
pride in
I
all of them.
do.
You don't
I
have
do.
to say names.
And it's
You
not,
don't have to say
and it's not
client
even about
names.
that. It's drop names. I love this name drop opportunity. It's hard for me because I really I don't look at it. I look at it as the extravagance of having done something big and grand for the client or for their guests. I look at it as the moment that I look forward to in the evening is once cake's been cut, dances are done, Everybody's on the dance floor. That's the first time I breathe all day long. I have literally held my breath. You guys are doing your thing. Catering's cleaning up. Cake's been cut. All the stuff is done, and I can take a step back and go, okay. All right,
did it.
now let's start cleaning up. And that's the truth.
Great answer.
But so I don't, it's hard for me to say like some big extravagant thing because I think so many special details. I mean, getting cigar bars are so cool and like specialty, all these little specialty things that are so meaningful to people. But it's hard for me to say that because this one person spent this amount on that's hard for me to say.
Yeah,
It's all
I get it.
extravagant.
I think
and
you're answering this question the exact way
that's
that
a
you
terrible,
should be
No, I
it's a
get it.
weenie
It makes so much
answer.
sense.
I feel like it's a weenie answer,
Yeah.
but it's a good question. But that's truly like when I can step back and be like, they're so happy. Their mom's over here crying because she's thrilled to death. Dad's like, look what I did. I mean, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dad, he
To be
showed
honest
up.
with you, that's probably the same way I would answer it because we've done
Yeah.
some big weddings, but to me, it's the one where you're working so well with the client and the
Yeah.
planner and everything involved and everything is, and like the way we look at it as a band is you look at it at the end of the night, the dance floor is packed.
Except for when you had like, the smorgasbord of like shrimp
Oh,
and
stop.
Oh.
We already
You
did
ate
an
at a
episode
wedding?
on that. We already did an episode on that.
You ate at a wedding? You
Oh,
don't
my
ever
goodness.
eat.
Oh.
Well,
You
I
will
learned.
not.
I learned from that wedding
Fair,
why I
fair.
don't eat at weddings.
I was like, here, just eat. No. Oh, no.
It's a
had
funny story.
We
Oh,
had a
that's a good
Jewish.
one.
Well, we're not even going to get into it. There was a Jewish wedding with like 5 stations of kosher food, and your boy went off,
And
I
had the
got
meat
on
sweats on
stage, and the song hit,
sweats.
and
Oh,
it was
no.
it was done for me, and I was just
That
looked
answers
over
why
at
you
him
won't have
and
a
I was
barbecue
like,
sandwich before.
Okay, so we're gonna thank you so much for
I love
coming.
you guys. No, I'm so happy to be here.
Any like quick little nugget of advice, brides and grooms?
Like take a step back and like what is really important to you. Don't do it because your mom says you should. Don't do it because your grandmother says you should. Don't do it for any of those reasons. Like what is most important to you about this entire experience? And like don't worry about what's proprietary and what's proper and what you have to do. Like I'm going to guide you through that. I'm like, okay, well that's probably not the way we should do that. Let's kind of do this. But look at things from a different perspective. Like look at things and be like, all right, this is how this should actually work. It doesn't have to be, there's just not a one size fits all for weddings just because your sister's
Anymore.
friend anymore. There's not, there's just not. And
Yeah.
it's not the cake and punch and mince in the church basement that it used to be, but also don't compare yourself to everything you're seeing. Be creative and go wild, but also have realistic expectations for what you're asking of your vendors and what you're and it's not just about spend, but what you're willing to put into this is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
It really is.
So where can clients find you? Socials, website, give us all the deets.
Website, I mean, pretty easy to find. It's amandareedweddings.com, EE, not EI, Amanda Reed with an E, 2 E's. Instagram, Amanda Reed Weddings. I've done some research and some SEO, so you'll find me. Google Amanda Reed Weddings. I'm pretty easy to find.
Amanda
and
Reed
if
Weddings.
you
I've done my
guys
SEO
have
research.
Not searched. I mean, especially any bride and grooms that are watching this, go follow Amanda Reed's content. I mean, they've got it's.
I've just got some
everything
cool
you
people
need.
that work with me.
And
I really do.
No, and your team for
Yeah.
real, they're some of the best.
They really
Shout
are.
out to like Terry, Maddie, all your girls.
Yeah,
like,
Colby, like
Col-
all of
Col-
them.
Yes, like those are the 3 that I've worked with most recently. I
yep.
know you have such a huge team of amazing people,
They're
but I'm
so
telling you,
cool.
you guys are the best of the best, and this is
And
why,
you.
she works worldwide.
All over.
Yeah.
All over,
Worldwide.
not just Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
this
what
is-
you
Not
can
just
find.
Arkansas.
Not just Arkansas, y'all.
Not just
Well,
Arkansas.
Amanda, thank you so
So
much for
welcome.
coming
Thanks for
on
having
here.
me.
Thanks for
This
coming
was way too
to
fast. I feel like we could have talked for 2
Backstage.
I know. We hit
Lost
1
Wax
hour
on the big
from-
brown couch.
yes.
What?
Oh,
Amanda,
this is my
thank you
favorite.
so
Oh, I
much.
love you guys. No, I'm happy to do it. My pleasure. My pleasure.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions for Amanda, you can send them through us or directly to her.
that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are watching Lost Wax in the green room on a big brown couch.
big
Patrick
brown
Willem, I'm
couch.
Eboni Fondra, and we're your hosts. Thank you guys so much.
Yay.
We'll be back. Amanda Reed, give it up. Woo woo.